Good day, everybody. This is Morsels of a Thought number 1854. I am here bringing you morsels of a thought of what I hope is wisdom, knowing the right things to do and then doing it. Let's see. Today I want to read from Fein and Sherrie Schneider's book, The Rules for Online Dating. Capturing the Heart of Mr. Right in Cyberspace. Now, this book came out when the internet was new, and we are going to look into a concept that they came up with at that time, which is so key for women who have a clue about dating. Now, you want to make a man want you more rather than less. So, here you go. Rule number 18 in the rules for online dating is to, quote, disappear, end quote, in between dates. Disappear in between dates. Many of the rules for online dating, such as waiting 24 hours to email a man back, not answering emails on weekends, not accepting instant messages, and keeping your emails short and sweet, discourage excessive contact between you and men. This is a good thing. We want you to know to kind of disappear in between dates as much as you can so that the man you're dating almost wonders if he is even dating you. For some strange reason, not knowing exactly where you stand and what you are doing gives men a rush. That is why we believe in playing hard to get and slowly involving a man in your life. It sets the right pace for the relationship so he isn't overwhelmed. Slowly involving a man in your life means that you and he are not going out with your parents on the fourth date or doubling with your friends on a Saturday night on the fifth date. It means you're not emailing and messaging him all day. Ay, ay, ay. Turn the page. Come on, turn the page. There you go. With cute thoughts or forwarding him messages from friends and coworkers so as to include him in your life. Under no circumstances are you telling him that you don't see him enough, as if you can't live without a man. You shouldn't be seeing each other 5 nights a week after a month, so that after 2 or 3 months, he has to come up with a reason to get out of this whirlwind relationship, whirlwind courtship. You have to pace the relationship so that it doesn't become too much for him and he ends up wondering how he got himself in so deep so quickly. If he starts to feel overwhelmed, he may panic and run. Trust us. Once a man realizes he is in a relationship with you, he will appreciate less contact because it gives him space to focus on his life and his work, as opposed to being emailed by you and emailing you back every 5 minutes. He will enjoy this less is more pace of dating, and the reward for both of you is that the relationship will, quote, stick, end quote, better, and after a year, you'll have built up something real. Most women, non-rules girls, do not disappear in between dates. On the contrary, they email, call, and message a man to death to remind him that they exist and that they are in fact in a relationship. These women figure out these women figure, quote, out of sight, out of mind, end quote. They are afraid that if they don't keep instant contact going with him in between dates, he will forget them. Think about other women in his office or maybe answer other women's ads online. Actually, the opposite is true. If a man doesn't hear from you constantly in between dates, he will probably think about you more, assuming the relationship started with a rules beginning. He spoke to or emailed you first and pursued you. He may even appreciate the lack of constant messages. Men still want what they can't have, and that's what makes them different from women. If a man sees you on long wonderful dates with lots of intimacy and then gets all these warm, loving messages, calls, and messages during the week, what incentive does he have to become committed to and marry you? None. But if you seem to disappear during the week and he doesn't know exactly what you are doing and what you are thinking or feeling about him and the relationship, you will seem mysterious and interesting to him, and your dates will be more special. Special. Now, you may be wondering, how will I know how his office renovation is going, and how will he know about my new job, and so on. Things happen every day in both our lives. Why can't we share these things as they occur? When you are married, you can talk to him every day, but hold back a bit for now. Otherwise, the relationship becomes too casual and familiar, and he will get bored. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. While we are asking you to hold back on correspondence, including smiley faces, coffee cup greetings in the morning, and friendship emails any time of the day, and calls during the week, don't worry. You will have more than enough time to be yourself on dates. If you are naturally warm and thoughtful, you are warm and thoughtful on dates. He has a dry throat. You ask the waitress to fill up his glass of water and bring him hot tea with lemon. If you are naturally upbeat and complimentary, you tell him a joke or gush about his new tie on the date, but you end the dates first and kind of disappear in between until he asks to see you again. We're reading from the Rules for Online Dating by Fein and Sherrie Schneider. What you're getting is advice on how to date men in the fact that men and women are different biologically. All these rules applied before and during and after your relationships in the past and present and future. So we're learning how to do things the right way. Yay. So let's see. Earring. Let's see. Um While we're asking you to hold back on correspondence, let me see. Okay. For most women, this is not easy to do. After a wonderful Saturday night filled with warmth and all the right feelings and ingredients for a relationship, most women naturally want to keep these feelings going. Women, excuse me, women feel it goes against nature to wait for the next date, to make contact. Men are different. Men are different. They will spend a weekend playing golf with a friend. Excuse me. Excuse me. Oh, gosh. Ah, be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sort of. Okay. Okay. Men are different. They will spend a weekend playing golf with a friend and then not talk to him again until the next golf game 2 months later, even if the market dropped and the friend is getting a divorce. So, when we told women in our first book not to call men in between dates, they felt as if we were asking them to stop breathing. But then they had to admit that they loved the results. Men who are results oriented understand this more than women do. How often have you heard a man say, let's just get the job done? So, if you want results, you can't just do whatever you feel like, but what works long term. And we can tell you for sure that what works long term is limiting your contact with a man in between dates. Without the rules, even the smartest women tend to behave in a way that sabotages the most promising relationships. They don't mean to do that, but that's what happens. Case in point. Jane, 51, a therapist, is the kind of person who calls her friends when they are sick, always returns phone calls, and never forgets anyone's birthday. Phil, 55, a chiropractor, cute doc 55, answered her ad, smart lady 51, and they started seeing each other every week. On average, he emailed her twice a week and called about once a week to confirm plans. Jane emailed him back every time, and she also sent him emails thanking him for dates, emails asking him about his day, and emails asking how his son did on his SATs. And when he had a cold, she sent him a feel-good email card. She also cut and pasted together every email they sent to each other for a collage that she gave him for their 2-month anniversary. For Phil, it started to become overwhelming. About 6 weeks after this, she noticed that his emails were less frequent and shorter, and when she messaged him, all, when she instant messaged him once, he got off first. Work is crazy, he said, and logged off before she could blink. When she emailed him the next day to invite him to her office Christmas party, he emailed back, I'm off the screen for this holiday. Jane got hysterical and called a good friend who told her about the rules. Her friend told her to disappear in between dates, rarely return his emails, and to stop being so chatty and concerned. Don't be his therapist, she advised Jane, the therapist. Asking Jane to be detached and busy was so against her nature and her profession, but her fear of losing cute Doc 55 with her sweetness and intensity was incentive enough. So she started not responding to his emails unless they were about their dates. Sure enough, he emailed her that he, quote, had a great time the other night, end quote, which he had never done before. When she didn't respond, she got an I'm thinking about you the next morning. The following day, he instant messaged her, Where have you been? She did not instant message him back, but emailed him 24 hours later. Hi, sorry, just some computer glitches with our new system. Oops, there it goes again, and logged off. Later, her friend told her to block herself so she could not accept instant messages, and she did that. Jane had to admit both strategies worked. That evening, Phil called and asked to see her twice that week. Saturday night for dinner and dancing, and Sunday to go to a basketball game with his son, whom she had never met. Now, Jane is sold on the rules for online dating. Pulling back a little, like Jane did when Phil became complacent, for example, skipping the holidays, usually works like a charm. But what do you do when a man is behaving really badly? If, for example, he begins skipping Saturday nights, saying he's not sure how he feels or that he needs space, or he hasn't proposed after 1.5 to 2 years of dating? Seeming to disappear in between dates and limiting contact is standard operating procedure for when things are going well between you. But when things are going badly, a more extreme solution is necessary. Now comes the good part. The authors say, We call this the quote, no contact, capital N, capital C, end quote plan. We believe the only way to wake up a wayward guy is to not contact him at all. You must stop seeing him and ignore all calls and emails and just let him keep trying to get in touch with you until he changes his tune, stops being complacent, commits, and proposes. When you start getting email flowers or real flowers at your door with a meaningful note about the relationship, then you can pick up the phone or email him back. Until then, nothing. Okay, so this is where no contact is an extreme way to get the guy to pay attention and maybe propose. Oh, God, I have so many pieces of dust around here. Here is a perfect example of how no contact works. We're reading about no contact and about how to disappear in between dates, which first came out in the Rules for Online Dating. And this book came out many years ago. It was their first foray into internet dating. And they were absolutely right when they came up with all this stuff. It still works. Here is a perfect example of how no contact works. Lynn met Matthew, both 35, when he answered her ad online. He thought she was very cute and had no problem asking for her telephone number in his third email. He called her the next day and suggested drinks that Friday night. There was instant attraction on both sides, and one date led to another and another. Lynn was totally smitten with Matthew and felt he was the one. She was also at a place in her life where she wanted to get married sooner rather than later. She felt she had done the dating scene enough to last a lifetime. Some of her friends from college were already on their third child. Having broken the rules in previous relationships, Lynn was one of those I'll never break the rules again types. She was so strict, in fact, that their 2 year relationship could be described as almost idyllic. From day one, there were weekly dates and follow-up calls and emails, romantic presents, and holidays spent together. Lynn did not sleep with Matthew until their ninth date. She was easy to be with and busy with her own life in between dates. She agreed that disappearing a bit in between dates only made Matthew more interested and gave her more time for her friends and family. She had just become an aunt and told her sister that she would babysit for her every Thursday night. Because she did the rules and was not accepting last minute dates from Matthew, she was able to stick to her commitment. There was only one problem with the relationship. Matthew had still not proposed. Lynn consulted with her sister, who suggested to have a relationship talk with him over a special candle-lit dinner. Lynn made Matthew's favorite dish, filet mignon with potatoes, but at the end of the meal, after complimenting her on how delicious dinner was, all he said was, my parents' divorce was very traumatic. I'm just not ready for marriage. Why can't we just keep things the way they are? A friend of Lynn's suggested she buy him a book on commitment phobia, since Lynn was convinced that the fact that Matthew's parents divorced when he was only 7 was one of the reasons he was gun shy about marriage. Lynn bought him the book and he said he would read it when he got a chance, but never did, and never brought it up again. Then Lynn suggested they talk to a marriage counselor to deal with his marriage jitters. He agreed, but then found one excuse after another: late meeting, business presentation that needed last minute preparation, basketball game, and so on. Lynn became increasingly impatient and started to question his commitment to their relationship on every date and in every phone conversation and email. All Matthew ever said was, I love you. This is not a good time. Work is hectic. Frustrated and hopeless. Excuse me. Frustrated and hopeless, Lynn consulted us for advice, the authors. We told her to ask Matthew his intentions for the future once more, following the script in, quote, closing the deal, end quote, chapter in the rules too. That's all the rules there. Again, Matthew said he wasn't ready, but could see getting married down the road. He refused to give a specific date or year. We told her that his answer was unacceptable, that after 2 years he either did or didn't want to marry her, that he already knew everything about her there was to know, so it was a yes or no at this point. Besides, we told her that at 35, she did not have another minute to waste with this man. We told her to tell him that she was an old-fashioned girl and that she couldn't date him forever and that this relationship was not working out for her. We told her that she had to be on the no contact plan from that moment on. What's no contact? Lynn asked, willing to do anything yet fearful of losing Matthew at the same time. No contact means no dates, no calls, no emails. He can call and email you and ask you about all he wants, but you don't see him and you don't pick up the phone or call or email him back until he says he's ready to get married. We told her. And you don't tell him your strategy either. Let him think you are busy or over him. Let him figure it out. But I love him and he loves me, she argued. And we've been together for 2 years. How can I just stop everything cold turkey? And we have plans for the next few weeks, a concert, his cousin's wedding, but isn't no contact cruel? If he doesn't love you enough to marry him, then he doesn't love you enough. We replied. You've tried reasoning with him and candlelit dinners and other things, and nothing's worked. But you've never tried no contact before. Why not try it for 30 to 90 days and see what happens? We explained that when a man still hasn't proposed after 1.5 years of dating, no contact is the only answer. If he can see you and speak to you without proposing, he has no incentive to marry you. Lynn said she understood and then got busy, too busy to see Matthew. A week later, Matthew emailed her. Hi, how is your day going? Mine isn't going so great as I miss you. We told Lynn not to respond. A couple of days later, there was a phone call. Hey, I was around the corner and thought I would stop by and say hi to pick up my umbrella. We told her not to call back or see him, but to mail him the umbrella with no note, which she did. A few more calls and emails followed, but nothing worth responding to. Another week went by and Lynn was getting worried and called us. We said, sit tight and keep doing, no contact. Sure enough, 2 weeks later, Matthew emailed her a beautiful card, which opened up into a ring and a smile. It said, can we meet for dinner to talk about this and our future? She waited 24 hours and emailed back, okay. He emailed back in 5 minutes. How about tonight? It was Thursday, and she babysat for her niece that night. She told him she couldn't, as she already had plans, quote unquote, but he knew what those plans were. While she was babysitting, the doorman buzzed. Matthew is here. He came up, got down on one knee, and said, look, I miss you. And I realize that even though it's scary to get married and I have my fears about this, I want you. And I want a baby like that too. Her sister and brother-in-law came back early from their night out and they all had a glass of champagne already iced. So it was a plan. She waited until the end of the evening and said, yes, I'd love to. Lynn realized that no contact wasn't a cruel plan after all, but a way to get a man who loves you, who may have issues to change his mind about marriage without pressuring or fighting with him. In the end, no contact is as good for him, lets him come to his own decision, which men love to do, as it is for you. No hanging in there for years, resentful that he is not proposing. When all else fails and everything's been said 100 times already, no contact really works. That's from the Rules for Online Dating by Fein and Sherrie Schneider, capturing the heart of Mr. Right in cyberspace. Okay, old Kinderhook.